I'm doing some short clips on specific indicators. This one here happens to be on swing gray, and it's not a totally inclusive video by any means. There's just some quick ideas, and they have to do with BOC patterns and TOC patterns in the swing gray line. And I've got a few examples I'll show you. This happens to be in SSYS, and we're in a BOC pattern, and it's one of the key things is that it's likely to go down. And one of the, you may not know it, but one of the main reasons is that it's under 1. Swing gray is at point 89 there, and so it's 9/10 of a point right now. But if you're looking for more information than that, sometimes you can tell just by location area, but obviously you want to verify stuff. If you look up into the zip chart, we have a red peak with yellow up and red up and yellow under 50 and red above 50. And the main thing is, if you go into the price chart, you look at price red, it's highest at 130, and price green is at 125. And you know that when you get up into that range over 120, that it can go down at any time. And so you're on a peak, and just visually looking at it, the price red and green, you can tell that. But there's two good ways to identify a BOC pattern in swing gray. And I'm doing this short clip because BOC patterns and TOC patterns in a slow moving line like swing gray, which is our primary deep cycle indicator, are important. Because why? Because you look at the next day, you get a huge red candle. And that's what happens when you have BOC patterns and TOC patterns in the swing gray. Here's another example right here. On your red line, you're in a TOC pattern. Again, you're under 1. The TOC pattern is on the swing gray is 0.79. And that TOC pattern gives us, it's not like when you had a real high cycle and swing gray was up at 5 or 6 or whatever number it might be. We're under 1, so there's a good chance that it's going to go up the next day. Also, when you look at your swing gray situation, you have what we refer to as a pink spike. This is the zip pink line down under 50, and the zip yellow line is at 74, pink being at 28. So what it's telling us is that the price really dropped. And if you look at the chart up here, you can see that the close the day before was way up at the top of that green candle, and that close was at 1660, and it opened at 1609. So it had a 50-cent drop overnight, and stayed pretty much stayed pretty much identical. It opened at 1609, closed at 1608. And so the next day we're expecting, because we got this deep pink line on the zip chart, and most of the time we know when we have spikes in the pink and they end up lowest, it could be that the pink line just noses itself out from underneath some of the other lines, and you get one of those nose down things, or I've talked about them on other videos. And in any case, we've got a TOC pattern on the red vertical line, and on the green vertical line, the red vertical line, because we're in a dip, because we've got a red spike, but really because the red didn't go down far enough like it did over here in this example, I sometimes refer to it as a pink spike, meaning yellow stayed up above 50, but pink went way down and red did not. And those are always good up patterns next day. So after the red vertical line in that TOC pattern, next day it goes up. Now, if we're looking at the green vertical line, we've got a BOC pattern in the swing gray, and the BOC pattern is under 1. And when we have that so low, when it's under 1, swing gray is at 0.93, you end up anticipating, or you just assume, that the price might go up from there. And that's pretty much a good conclusion to come by. You also, again, after the green vertical line, or even at the green vertical line, we technically have zip Zion lowest. Now you're going to look at it and you're going to say, well, no, zip green is lowest. But again, if you know from the indicators that we exclude, like when zip red and green, when zip Zion and zip green are running together, we can exclude one or the other in consideration because they're both tracking the price. They're both tracking the trades that are being made. Zip pink is tracking the price. And so when we're looking at zip Zion, we always exclude zip green from consideration. So in this case here, the green vertical line is a zip Zion lowest going up, which means we're going to end up with an up candle next day, and that is a pattern consideration. Zip Zion lowest going up is a pattern in itself. So that's a powerful indication. On the next one, we have zip gray in a TOC. This one's a little bit higher. It's at 1.46. But on this particular day, we also have a red spike. Both red, pink, and gray are down under 0. They've spiked down. Yellow remains high. Yellow on this particular day is at 87, which tells us we're going to go up. We had a nice gap up on this day. The last example I've got right here are these two. It's hard to see them in amongst this, but we actually have two BOC patterns. Both of them are under 0. One is a BOC lower and one is a BOC higher. And the thing that I wanted to point out to you is that both of these patterns are on the day the BOC occurred. And so on the first one, if you back them up one day, on the first one you see that you have a nice gap up, go up scenario. And you can probably anticipate that it is going up because look at all your low angles up in the zip chart. And even in the swing yellow, you have a low angle up. And in the right vertical line, you have a nice green candle going up. And so even though you have zip Zion going up, that's contrary to what it should be. But remember, zip Zion needs to be highest and going down, not going up. And so those are the just briefly some comments that I wanted to make about the zip Zion, the zip gray line. And when you see BOC and TOC patterns in that line, they usually cause strong movements. So that's it for this video. We'll see you on the next one.